are in a heated political environment. We are in an environment in which the Democratic Party has no real identity other than, you know, taking on a more pro-corporate tone, abandoning the working class, leaning into identity politics to the detriment of their own party because they went too far and people got sick of it. Yeah, it's going to be tough, Ken. Did you think it was going to be a cakewalk to be the DNC chair at a time when, you know, I think at this point, for the first time in decades, registration of Democratic voters is lower than registered Republicans, or the number of registered Republicans.
Yeah, that's actually accurate. I did see that recently. It's telling. The Democratic Party is not in a great place, but there are signs that they're getting more popular.
That's a problem. And it's because no one likes what you guys are selling. It's going to be tough because you need to figure out what Americans want. They're so out of touch. You need to actually have conversations with ordinary Americans. And to be quite frank, I think the infighting in regard to primarying incumbents is part of the problem. Not because I'm against it, but because the Democratic establishment, Ken Martin included, are trying to prevent it from happening. You shouldn't.
Yeah. Infighting, primaries, those types of things are helpful. They help tell the incumbent, hey, you need to get your act together. You need to start being more accountable to the people. Even if the primary challenger doesn't win, they can be helpful. So yeah, you shouldn't scold primary challengers or discourage them. That's totally fine. You know, that's totally fine. The Republicans do primaries all the time. It's totally fine. Challenge your incumbents, make them work for it. Especially, I mean, if they're like super entrenched, you know, super old, just a career politician. Yeah, they can't just take their position for granted.
Try to prevent it from happening. It should absolutely happen. But since they're, you know, engaging in this weird protection racket for ineffective loser Democrats, yeah, your job is made harder when it doesn't need to be harder. You should be welcoming challenges to ineffective Democrats, but they just want to protect their buddies. Even if their buddies are not good at their jobs, even if their buddies have not done a good job representing the constituents that elected them in those positions of power in the first place. Democrats are embarrassing, man. And I don't mean the voters. I want to be clear. I feel so much empathy for voters across the board because we're all in this terrible situation where we look at the two parties and it's like, I don't know. You know, I'm too left for the right and I'm too right for the left. Like I'm in.
What? That is completely incoherent. That totally contradicts what you were just saying. If you want to primary loser Democrats, isn't the whole idea that they're not left-wing enough? And yet you're saying, oh, I'm too left for the right and too right for the left. That's what Joe Biden's like. That's what moderate Democrats are like. Wouldn't you be a moderate corporate Democrat then if that's the case? Where you're just milquetoast, like really centrist on economic issues and a little bit left on social issues? What? This is totally ridiculous. This makes no sense. This does not add up. Don't you want to push the Democrats left? Isn't that the idea of primarying them, is usually to push them left, not to push them right? But you're saying, oh, I'm too right for the left. If you're more left-wing, don't you want to replace the Democrats? If you're more right-wing than the left, don't you want more centrist Democrats? This is incoherent, and it speaks to something that's pretty concerning with TYT, where they're doing this kind of enlightened centrist pivot. Other networks have done it before. Cenk Uyghur's kind of gesturing at it, or this kind of centrist populist thing where we unite the right and the left. But it's something that can't really be done. The right wing is not serious about populism. They're not serious about helping people. Look at the big beautiful bill, the big ugly bill, I should say. They're not helping people. Anna, this is absurd.
This weird place, politically speaking. But you look at the Democratic Party, I don't even know if they're too far left or too far right. All I know is they're pro-corporate. And anyone who wants to challenge them on that gets crushed. So I think that's
okay, too pro-corporate. You don't know if they're far left or far right or whatever. Fair enough. They're kind of vague. But then what's the point in wanting to replace them? What do you want? Someone who's more vague, more specific? What you don't want to replace them with someone who's too far left now, do you? You say you're too right for the left. So what do you actually want? What do you actually want? It is incoherent. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Like, comment, or subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching.